photocopy stands. Man, those will set you back a lot of money. They're super effective, but yeah, really, really expensive. But in today's video, I'm going to show you how you could build yourself one for well under $100. And this just so happens to be a segment from my brand new masterclass that I'm calling the Instant Digitizing Blueprint, which we're going to talk about that at the end of the video, as well as this little product right here. Yeah, a little companion to the photo stand. So without further ado, let's build ourselves a DIY copy stand. I'm just another Chris. First stop we're gonna make is to Home Depot. Not a sponsor, and you don't have to actually shop here. You can go to any hardware store of your choosing. First part we're gonna find is the base. And I went with this pre-cut 2x2 plywood. However, I don't need it this big, and I don't have a table saw to cut this. So what you can do is ask them to cut it down for you. And that's what I did. And I had them cut it down to 16 by 16 because I still wanted a good surfaced area as well as weight. I didn't want it to topple over. So it would have a good surfaced area to prevent that. And next, we're gonna hit the plumbing aisle. And we're looking for a pipe that we can mount to the base that we can later mount our camera to. And this will work just fine. So 1-inch black steel, 18-inch pipe. Sturdy and has some weight to it. Again, we don't want this to topple over because we are mounting a camera to it at the end of the day. We don't want that to break. And before leaving this aisle, I had to be sure to grab a floor flange, 1 inch, so we can screw in and mount the pipe. I also grabbed some rubber feet, but I guess I forgot to record footage of that. But that's it. Now we can assemble this thing. So let's recap. We got the board, aka the base. We got a floor flange. And here are some screws I had laying around to screw the floor flange into the board. Levels. More on that later. Rubber mounted feet for the bottom of the board. These can be optional. I would wait to put these on till later in the video. The pipe, what's called a super clamp to clamp to the pipe. This thing that came with the super clamp, a mini ball head. I love this ball head. Link to it is in the description. I had this laying around. You could use whatever ball head you want, and that's all the parts you will need. There is an optional but highly recommended part that we'll go into coming up later in the video, so stay tuned on that. First step, just take the pipe, thread it in to the floor flange. And the only tool you're going to need to do this is a drill or a screwdriver. I would recommend a drill. It does make it faster, but you can totally use a screwdriver if you don't have a drill. Next step is to attach the rubber feet, or as the package says, bumpers. I didn't think that these would stick very well to the wood, but I was wrong. These stuck really well. And again, these are optional. You might want to wait to put these on. And that's because we're going to talk about the optional part. Optional, but I would say it's highly encouraged. And that is installing leveling feet. And that's to make sure that the base where you put your photo is level. Now, if you have a level surface, you could probably skip this step, but I do encourage you to do this. I will leave the part in the description of what you need, but it's just these. And to install them, it's super simple, but it does involve having a drill. You need to drill 4 holes into the board and then hammer these into place. Really easy, and plus these are only like an extra $7, maybe $8 to get. As an extra tip, you could put the rubber bumpers on the bottom of the leveling feet. It'll help it grip to the table and won't slide around when you're taking pictures. The next step is to attach the super clamp to the pipe. Now, the placement of this will just depend on your camera and what lens you're using. The reason I chose the clamp is, well, it's adjustable. You could raise it and lower it at your discretion. So there really isn't a right or wrong way to mount this. Next, we're going to mount the little brass insert mount piece that came with the clamp. This is so we can then mount the ball head, which will then mount the camera. And as you're watching this or trying to assemble this yourself, you may notice, well, hey, the camera isn't level. Well, that's where those levels come into play. They slide right into the hot shoe, and then we're able to level the camera by loosening and adjusting the ball head. Level the camera and then tighten down the ball head, and you're ready to start taking your photos. Well, kind of. We have to get into the lighting. So for me, the lighting setup, I am using just my regular like studio lights for when I record my videos. You don't have to do this, but it is pretty simple to set up. It's just one light, baby. I have an overhead right here that I turn off for this because it will cast a glare. You don't want that. So I turn that off. So the light I actually use is over here. Come on, camera. Gimbals are a little slow. Right here, it's off to the side. It's a continuous light. Nothing fancy. And yeah, you can be cheap or as expensive as you want, but having a nicer light can help in a lot of scenarios. But you don't have to use these types of lights, which these are COB or cob lights. meaning chip on board. It's a fancy word just to say it's an LED light. That's it. You can also use flash photography as well. For my demonstration, just one light, put it off to the side, and you're gonna be just fine. No glares. And I'll have recommendations for lights in the description. I'll have cheap, medium, and semi-expensive options just in case. But yeah, you don't really need to go too crazy with a light in this scenario. You just need a nice light off to the side just so you don't cast that reflection. And lighting position will be up to you, honestly. It just depends on what you're using. Every light's gonna be a little bit different, so how big it is, how small it is will determine how far away the light needs to be. If you're using a large softbox or small softbox or no softbox, it will just depend. Now, it'll just take a little bit of experimenting to get down, but you could also mount a light to this pole as well. You could get another arm, set it off to the side. That's up to you. Depends on your budget. What do you do now? You take your photo and you put it down on the surface. This is what you do first. You take the level and now we put it on the board. What we're gonna do is then just twist the feet until we can get the leveled. And we're gonna level the base. Mess with the feet. And now we are level. So now that we're level on the base, we take our level and put it back in the cold shoe on the GH5. And now what we're gonna do is level the GH5 and then we are set to go. It is one extra step that I do highly recommend you guys doing just because your surface might not be level. If it's already level or at least close enough, you can skip the leveling of the feet. But I do encourage you to do it because it's not hard at all and it's very inexpensive. It's like an extra $7. And since this one is really small, you do want to make sure you check all 4 corners because a level is only effective for the length of the level. So this one is only good for like, I think 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches. I would recommend getting like a 6-inch one for this, but this will work. And when you take your photos, you want it to have a little bit higher of f-stop. That way things are nice and sharp. I'd recommend starting at like 5.6. And for the camera settings, I mean, that's gonna vary based on your camera and your lighting that you wanna set up. But in this scenario, and with all my studio lights on, I've got ISO 400, 5.6 on the f-stop, and 1/80th of a second. With the GH5, I can press the shutter button. It takes a picture and then it's in an interval. I can't remember, I think 5 seconds or so. It just took another photo automatically. Now I can just kind of get things lined up. Boom, take another photo, swap it in and out. And it's pretty freaking fast. And then you just bring in the photos into whatever editor software that you like to use, and you can edit your photos. This will save so much time. And time is money. The instant digitizing blueprint is available right now. And we're gonna talk about that in just a second, but I wanna bring this up right here. This little companion part is very, very handy. It kind of looks like a flatbed instant scanner, which you totally can use this on a flatbed as well. But these have 4 little holes that attach itself to the photo stand. So all your photos are nice and square. It's amazing. Makes post-processing a breeze. And in the course, we go way more in depth on this, how to use it, how to install it, editing. But if you want to pick one of these up, there is a link in the description to the physical copy in limited quantities, by the way. Or if you are a DIYer and have 3D printing capability, the 3D files are also available for purchase. I teamed up with a fan of the channel to create this, as well as something else that you'll find out more in the course. But the instant digitizing blueprint is available right now. There's so much packed in this course. Outside of the copy stand, there are 2 other methods that we're gonna go over. Traditional flatbed scanning is one of them. I'll walk you through how to set it up using the scanners, softwares, post-processing, even organizing your photos. I even show you how to use the Epson ES60W. I'll walk you through how to use this with your computer, even your phone. And I show you tips and tricks on using your phone to get the best copies of your photos, using free softwares, apps, editing techniques, and more. Since that wasn't enough, I've also included a lot more, such as creating templates in Photoshop to make posting to, let's say, Instagram a lot easier. Even creating free templates on your phone using apps, file management of your photos, and probably my favorite section, using your digital scans to do something creative, like turning them back into physical prints to share with friends, family, even sell and make money, creating zines, and a few other little fun ideas that you'll have to find out in the course. Even better yet, I've also bundled it with my first masterclass, Master the Art of Instant Photography. There is a bundled option available if you don't have that course. You can get both of them for a hefty discount. So be sure to check out those links in the description. Lots of fun things in there for you. And of course, everything that you saw in today's video are available there as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. But until then, get out there, make some art, and digitize those photos while you're at it.